Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Purdue.
Hey, let's all get up here. Let's get fired up, get some inspiration, get motivated to get through our next trials and tribulations, our next hardship, our next difficult, whatever you want to put. Let's move on. Grab something out of this podcast that you can grab, get a gold nugget. And I can tell already we're interviewing this guy, we're going to have more than one good gold nugget. So grab 2 or 3 of them. Don't be stingy and take it to the grave with you. It's not going to help you. Pay it forward. Help the next person coming to help them get through their trials and tribulations. All right, get to the show here. Hey, sit back with you. It's 37 degrees where I live. We're supposed to be in the mid 50s. Cold front has hit us hard here. So grab your cup of Joe, get your cocoa, get your hot chocolate, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show today. Say, he went from cult to war to live TV director. Our guest today wants to help people destroy internal limits, heal pain, and finally live the life they were born to live. Welcome to the show. Let me push this in here. And right there we are. Welcome to the show, Logan.
Thank you so much for having me, brother. I appreciate you, doctor.
Yeah. Hey. Don't use that doctor like it's really meant for anything. I can't write out a prescription or nothing. But Logan, if you need me to drive you to your pharmacy to pick up something, I can do it for you.
You know what? I'll take you up on that, brother.
There you go. Hey, appreciate you being here all the way from Vegas and from here. Boy, I love this technology today. Again, not that I'm glad I'm disabled. I hate that. Don't wish it for anybody. But I tell people with today's technology that you and I can talk hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away, and be able to talk and do this. And here, just a few hours now, I'm interviewing a guy that's actually going to be Wednesday tomorrow. He's in Australia, so I'm going to be interviewing him. So again, I don't wish to be disabled anyway, but the technology today that we're able to do what we're doing is makes it more bearable. So
absolutely. I think back to my grandmother growing up in the Great Depression, and not that long ago, we didn't have anywhere close to this technology. And I can only imagine what it'll be another 50 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness, holograms or, teleportation. I don't know.
Yeah. You'll actually be sitting beside me.
There you go.
Like I said, with the hologram or something, we'll be look like we're really interacting. So yeah, this technology is going to be scary. Isn't it hard to believe but to understand that they're saying, people are training today for a job 20 years from now that we don't have no idea where it's going to be because of the technology. That's amazing.
That's just mind-boggling. Like, I have no words.
Yeah. All right, Logan, hey, it's going to get started here, man. So you went from a cult, and I did read it's a family-induced cult. And so, and you war, which you got into military. And so to get your way out. And again, I can tell with the positive attitude, you've done a great adjustment throughout your life. So go ahead and you jump us and put us into the story where you think's best for us to follow.
Well, I appreciate that, doctor. And it always hasn't been positive. It's been pretty bleak at times. As a child, as you mentioned, I grew up to a single mother. We were pretty poor on the south side of Chicago. And we had a lot of the things that we needed, but not a lot of the extras, And that was, as a child, you don't know any different. You're just doing what you can, and you're happy. You just want to play and have fun and have a little ice cream. And my mother struggled with mental illness. She suffered from bipolar disorder, and again, as a child, you're just wanting, you
You
don't
think you think
understand.
all mothers are like that.
Yeah, you don't
I mean,
actually
yeah,
understand as a 3-year-old what's happening. You just know
yeah.
that.
My mom raised 3 boys. Basically, uh, my real dad and her divorced for my first birthday, and she didn't
Oh,
remarry till I was 6 years old, 7 years old, and so between then, we thought this way as always. Like you said, we didn't know any better. We figured all moms are raising the kids, and there's no man in the life at that point. Then she remarried, so
yeah.
yeah. But like you said, for your child, you think this is the normal. And
I
sadly, in today's society, it is normal and it's not right. Dads need to be involved. Okay. So, all right, go ahead. I'll get off my soapbox.
absolutely, I completely agree, couldn't agree more. Um, but that kind of battle at home was really only the beginning. That was just, something that was a part of my day-to-day, but didn't really impact me as much as kind of this other piece that loomed over my head, which was, we before I was born, my mother and my family was a part of this religious organization, which I now understand it to be a cult. And it's not so much a cult of the physical compound and drinking Kool-Aid or like Waco, Texas, or anything like
Hmm.
that. It was
Hmm.
more of a mental belief system.
Yeah.
And they really instilled some pretty strict beliefs for the congregation. For example, as a child, I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons. I wasn't
Oh,
allowed to
wow.
eat chocolate. I wasn't allowed to even play sports or go to gym class. So if you can
Oh,
imagine
wow. That is
little
strict.
Logan, yeah, it was pretty tough. So little Logan growing up in the 90s in Chicago, peak Jordan era, right? And there's, everybody's at school talking about, "Oh my god, did you see, Jordan's game and he retired, he came back." All of these things I was completely
And
clued out of.
yeah, they go, "Do you see?" And you go, "No."
And from kindergarten through, elementary school, through middle school, I was just ostracized at every step of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Even to a degree, we weren't allowed to celebrate holidays. So no Easter egg hunts, no, um, birthday cupcakes or anything like that for me. And so I was berated and belittled and really, I got bullied pretty relentlessly
Yeah, I
as a
can believe
child.
that because it's a shame that when and children are the worst with the bullying, and it's because they don't know better either. Okay, and obviously when they're bullying, they've learned it from somewhere. Okay, and the old saying, "The apple doesn't fall far from the tree," and so yep. So they can, but once they realize what's going on and grow up, a lot of them change. Now that doesn't help you at the young age, but they do change
Whew.
a lot of them. Not all of them, but quite a bit. But yeah, it can be different, and the main thing is because you're different, and that's
Yes.
why they're bullying because you're not like them or the other people. You're different. So
Yes. And that can be difficult as a child. I grew up as an only child. I had these issues, with my mom at home. I couldn't participate in gym class because they would play sports. And, I couldn't go play with the other children, during the summertime many times because they'd be playing basketball or football or things like that. And I wasn't allowed to participate. So as a result,
even though you couldn't participate, you couldn't go out there to just watch, just to be friends.
I did have friends, and I was allowed to, like, ride my bicycle, with them to the park and go to the swing set and things like that, but at a certain age, you kind of get phased out of that, and it becomes more sports
Yeah,
oriented,
yeah, yeah.
watching movies or, cartoons or video games, and those things I just weren't allowed to do.
Mm. Yeah, that's
So,
rough.
it is, and as a result, by the time I was a teenager, I was suicidal. I
Okay.
just, not that I actually wanted to kill myself, but more of a byproduct that I wanted the pain to end. I didn't want to just go through this hardship. I didn't want to every single day have to be labeled as different or be that guy anymore. At home, at school, with my friends, it just I remember walking leaving church one Friday night and looking down the street, and the church was on a boulevard, and I remember seeing a big red truck come down the street, and I remember thinking, if I stepped in front of that truck, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if it just ended.
Yeah.
And that's a really difficult, sad place for a teenager. It's a sad place for anyone, but for someone so young,
Definitely that. Yeah, it's a sad place for anyone. And if anybody's thinking of that, please call the suicide line. It's 988. Make it
yes,
easy on you and go ahead and call. Now, I tell people, if you don't want anybody to know who you are, lie about your name. That's cool. They don't have to know. Okay. But you have to be honest on what the problem is for them to be able to help you. Okay. To
yes,
give you suggestions. And like you said, it's difficult for anybody, but it's really difficult for a teenager who's trying to fit in with everybody else.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was the late 90s. I don't know if that uh, that system was in place at that point, but I thank God I made it through that circumstance, and I ended up uh, I needed to get away. I just wanted to somehow reinvent myself. And so the only force strong enough, I thought, if I went to college, then I would still have to come back and my family would try to pull me back into the religion or something like that. So I thought, if I join the Air Force, at the time my dream was to fly airplanes. Airplanes represented freedom for me. I would lay in the grass in my backyard in Chicago and watch the planes go into Midway, and I would always wonder, what cool adventures have they come from? Where have they gone? It just airplanes and traveling represented getting away.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to join the Air Force and completely reinvent myself, and no one's going to know. And to a degree, I did. The My first duty assignment was uh, just outside Anchorage, Alaska. And for a Chicago boy, a big city boy, going to see the mountains and living 4 years in Alaska is, whew, that's a difference.
I can
that's
imagine.
that's a
I can
change.
imagine. Yeah. But yeah, just, I mean, I understand you want to change, but it's a big step to go in from being sheltered so much to, wow, military. I mean, that's a big, so what, I mean, other than just want to get out of the situation, did anything else inspired you? Just, I mean, because that's a big step. That's a big jump from where you were to what you want. I
Yes,
mean, it's not like, you leaving there to go work at McDonald's and hoping to slowly work your way out. Now you get to the military, there's no pansy in there. You're taking abuse from the verbal to get, and they're doing it to build you up is what they're doing. But I mean, again, that's a huge change right there.
absolutely, absolutely. So
Not
here,
that working McDonald's is a bad thing, because
yeah,
people, they serve me my quarter pounder with cheese pretty good. All right, not to say they're bad. I'm just saying the
an
adjustment.
honest living.
Yeah, and then the adjustment would be a lot different again than getting in that military.
Yes. So one, as I mentioned, my dream was to fly, and I didn't want to make my mom have to foot the bill for pilot training. So I thought I could get away, I could reinvent myself, I could fly, which, long story short, at the time my eyesight was too poor to fly. I wasn't able to pursue that, unfortunately. However, um, it solved so many functions that
Hmm.
I was trying to get away from or rebuild or become this new person. So that was the primary mechanism for me joining the military. Now, it's funny you brought up basic training and kind of that tearing you down to build you up. Uh, because as a child, going through the mental anguish and the beratement of 17 years, 18 years of being different, and having the courage to say, as a child for 18 years, saying, no, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, no, I don't celebrate this, no, I'm not allowed to, due to my religious beliefs, I can't play football with you, every single day justifying it. That builds a certain mental resilience
Oh
and that
yeah.
mental internal discipline. So basic training for me was actually quite fun. I understood.
I was getting ready to say I could see basic training. You're going. That's all you got. With the
There's
yelling. I've had this for like I said, 17 years. I can handle 6 weeks of this if that's all you got. Yeah, I
abs-
could see. I could see. Yeah, the benefit, whether you want to call it a benefit or not. I could see.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So as opposed to me subscribing to this religious rules and belief systems, I'm just subscribing to the military's. Like,
Mm.
this is how you want me to wake up. This is how you want me to fold my clothes. This is how you want me to carry myself and how you want me to act. Great.
Well, in
Uh,
life, we got to learn to play the game.
in every facet of life, from
Hmm.
taxes to, social norms when eating out, like you have to play the game that, society says. So the, I actually really, military basic training was kind of fun because I just understood that they wanted me to subscribe to their belief system and do what they wanted to do. So, and once I realized that they couldn't put their hands on me, they couldn't actually hurt
Yeah,
me,
exactly. Yes.
I was like, "I got this."
See, you say that. You remember years ago, I forgot what it was called, but they was taking these teenagers to prison, and
Oh,
scared
goodness.
straight or something
Scared
like
straight.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
and they're taking, and I'm going. But once these teenagers realize they ain't going to hit them, they can't touch them. They can yell all they want to face, but
Right.
once they realize they they can't be too scared. It's what I was thinking. So, but I wasn't there, and I'm sure they were worried about someone touching them, hitting them. So
Sure. And I also I think the same thought, by the way. Whenever I see that, I'm like, they have to know, but I think it's a function of maturity, having that ability to step back and say, it's almost like going on a roller coaster thinking I might die, but at the same time, there's all these functions with insurance, safety checks,
yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah,
all of these functions to make sure that you are safe and you are provided a service that to take you to the brink to feel like this, but not actually cause harm and danger. So I guess I would think it's a function of maturity less than rationality.
Now let me back up a little bit. Now you were suicidal, and what got you out of that state of mind?
To be honest, I don't remember.
You just
So
finally
in
said, "Today's a good day. Let's move forward." And I mean, thinking about the military to keep you positive.
That might have been it. I don't actually have
Okay.
a vivid memory of that, how I got through that particular scenario.
Hmm.
I A lot of my memories from childhood were very kind of splotchy, and
Oh,
it's
I can see
unfortunate,
that. Yeah.
but I understand now as an adult, going through many years of therapy, understanding that this is a mechanism as a result of just the brain not wanting to remember some of these really
You're
painful.
blocking it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. I can see that. So,
Yeah,
all
but
right. So you
I
got
ima
into.
I
Go ahead.
will
I'm sorry.
say, I imagine that it was partially a byproduct of me not wanting to my mom to kick my butt from beyond the grave for giving her trouble after I killed myself.
Yeah. Wouldn't
So
it
I
be a
think
shame
light
you?
of it,
Yeah.
but
Wouldn't it be a shame that you're gone and she's still giving it to you?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
And I'd imagine there's people out there like that because
Oh
now they're tearing you up for leaving them behind.
yeah.
So, wow.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
So to a degree, going through the military, completely being immersed in a new environment, I was able to reinvent myself. But as a 19-year-old, 18, 19-year-old, being in Alaska might as well be a whole new country, for lack of a better
Mhm.
term. I didn't have the maturity to deal with those demons, those skeletons in my closet, to go get therapy, go get help for all of the childhood trauma that I went through. And as a result, as a 26, 27-year-old, when the Air Force sent me to Iraq, and I was assigned to a base called Joint Base Balad, and we got attacked 7 times a day, day and night.
Wow.
We were under attack with small arms fire, with mortars, the attack sirens going off day and night. Y- Being faced with your mortality every single day, seeing people that unfortunately, not making it, looking at buildings that you've gone to with holes in them, and just no amount of training can prepare you for
Yeah.
that level of carnage, and just really, it's tough. And on another hand, like, you want to go to the gym with your friends and enjoy a laugh. You want to go grab food with your buddies and talk about anything other than just what just happened. And it's this weird place to be for your brain, knowing I might not make it home, but I can't live in a state of heightened
Oh, yeah.
mortality.
Yeah, it's gotta be. I've never been in the military, but, I mean, it's gotta be tough, with the realization this could be my last day. Again, being attacked, like you said, 7 times a day. A guy that I worked with, we were good friends, and we were both on the girls' basketball coaches, and he left school one year to go to Iraq. He was in the Guard here in Tennessee, and he went to spend a year in Iraq, and, coming back telling some of his stories and what he witnessed. And I mean, life shouldn't be witnessed like that. But but I'll personally thank you and him and everybody else that I'm glad that y'all are, again, selfishly, that I'm not in it. But thank y'all for what y'all did to try to make this world a little bit better. So, and I always thank our military people, from the people that's already came before you and the people coming in the future, that because me and my disability, that y'all made life a little easier for us to get out here and enjoy this world. So it's not been that long ago. Hitler was killing disabled people because they weren't the perfect and chosen ones, and so it's not been that long ago. And here we are having a better life because of people like you and the people coming and people before you. And I want to thank you personally.
I appreciate that, my friend. I definitely appreciate that. War is something so heinous. I don't wish that on anyone. And it it really resonates with in the mind. And
Oh, heck yeah.
when I came back, I unfortunately, and you know what, thankfully, my grandmother and various members of my family encouraged me to go get counseling, go get therapy, and within a month of me coming back home, I did. I went and uh, took part in therapy, and it really changed my life in me being able to open up and talk about it. Some of those things that I experienced, but to a degree, it was something that I hadn't fully processed myself, on top of the childhood and all of these other things. So as a result, because I wasn't, oh my goodness, when I came back, I was just a shell of myself. I was so hyper vigilant. I couldn't go to dinner with my family because I had to watch everyone in the restaurant. I had to watch all the entry and exit points. I couldn't go on a date night with my wife. I couldn't go to the movies. I was just so anxious and hyper vigilant, and I was not the person that I left or that I was before I went to Iraq.
Yeah.
And as a result, my marriage failed largely because I couldn't hang. I couldn't
You had
deal with
to, what's it called, a decompress, something like that when it's come back. I was just talking to a friend just the other day, and he was in the National Guard Air, and he was talking about he was helping people who were coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, other wars, and helping them decompress to relearn to live here. And like you said, not have the suspicion of having to look around and worry about the exit points and what's the guy doing behind me, and yet they having to learn to retrain your mind again to do that.
absolutely, absolutely, and it's wild. I'll still have uh, sometimes I call it my spidey sense, but an urge to just check behind me or understand, what's happening, where am I, what could possibly happen, even though I know it's been 10 years
Yeah.
since I left the military service. And
Well,
a lot
again, what you saw over there just burnt in your brain the
it's
rest
tough.
of you. And
It's tough.
sometimes I guess it's hard to block that stuff where, you block out some of the childhood stuff, but I guess being older and stuff, it's harder to block out what you actually, witnessed.
I do have some memory gaps, being over in Iraq, even as a 26, 27-year old, but it I remember more than I think is lost. Um, but in that process of going through a divorce, I was living in Belgium, and the Air Force sent me there, and I was away from my little daughter, and I I remember feeling so hopeless, and I hit rock bottom again,
Hmm.
and I fell into depression. I fell into insomnia, and I didn't help it by uh, drinking alcohol and using alcohol to cope with my
Yeah.
problems. And guess what? When you engage in unhealthy behaviors and some of those things that we haven't dealt with in the past linger, these old skeletons come back. And so I found myself on the doorstep of suicidal ideation again. And it was so deep, and it was so difficult having that really strong hold on me of, you know what, I don't see a way out of this. I i imagined that I was going to die with this person. I always imagined being there for my daughter. My framework, my model of the world was no longer possible. It was crumbling. And partially because of what I experienced in Iraq, partially from my childhood, partially my inability to cope and didn't have the tools to cope. And so I remember one day at 3 o'clock in the morning walking to work and thinking to myself, drunk as a skunk. I figured by the time I got to work, I would be sober and I could just get through my day. That if I were to kill myself, if I were to kill myself, that my daughter would have an example of what not to do. She would see that her dad couldn't fight, and she would see that her dad saw that as an option, and I didn't want her to see that as an option. That night, as I walked to work and I sobered up, I decided that I wasn't going to be an example of what not to do, but I was gonna live my life as an example of what to do.
Amen, brother. Oh, I love hearing that. And this is one of them examples. I've mentioned it 2 or 3 other times before. Your daughter saved your life.
Absolutely.
I've
I
had
tell her
other
all the time.
people that talked about wanting to end their life, but then they said they couldn't do it. They didn't want their children to be left alone to be raised by someone else or to find with them or whatever it else. And so they're on my show telling their story. And it goes back to their children saved their life.
Absolutely.
So your little girl done a wondrous thing and didn't know it. She knows it now, Bubba. She knows it
Yes,
from
sir.
these podcasts.
Yes,
And
sir.
that
And
book you're going to be writing, you're going to be writing, she's going to know it then too. So,
I tell her every day how much she means to me. And okay, maybe I don't tell that story every day, but I told her when she was 16 and I felt like she had enough maturity to handle.
hmm
Uh, but she knows that a lot of what I do in my life is for her.
yeah.
Um, and in that night, I made a promise to myself that I was going to pursue my dream um, of being a live television director. And fast forward, I ended up leaving military service after my contract. I cold called hundreds of people. I emailed thousands of people, um, trying to look for an opportunity in the industry. Moved to LA after I got out of the military, and guess what? A big fat zero. I had no opportunities, and that was a slap in the face. But I had my will, my reason, my why that I was doing this was for my daughter to prove to her that you can do anything you put your mind to. I had my job in the military airport operations manager had nothing to do with live television. I completely changed careers. I completely didn't have a network in LA, anything in the live television environment. However, I knew that if I gave it my all, good things would happen. And I started completely over. As a 30-year-old, I was delivering coffee to people much younger than me as a production assistant, but I knew I had to be the first person in, last person out, show that work ethic, grind. No one was going to give it to me. Use that discipline that I learned in childhood, facing all the adversity to get me to where I wanted to go. And guess what? It did. I have been fortunate enough to be a part of some amazing productions. I've been a part of multiple World Series, a Super Bowl. I've directed myself uh, the French Open, the Australian Open multiple times, so many sports highlight shows. I'm living my dream. I direct sports and sports highlight shows, as I mentioned, concerts, corporate events. And now that I'm kind of on this side of my journey and I look back and I'm like, okay, from Iraq to this crazy childhood to all of these things, how did I get here? How did I, against all of these crazy odds, how did I make it? And how can I help other people achieve their dreams and goals? And I started digging deep into neuroscience and how people
hmm
learn and understanding changing behaviors, discipline. And it was interesting. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I used military strategy, the strategies that allow the Air Force and other branches of the military to achieve a 80 to 90% success rate, to apply that to my personal life to help myself achieve my goals, which is kind of crazy. But if you think about it, you can apply tactics anywhere to achieve any goal. And when you understand how you work, the power of the mind, the power of identity, the power of positive thinking, combined with neuroscience and the brain and all of these pieces, you are truly limitless. And I think that's something that's so beautiful in life.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I definitely see the benefit of using your military background, you know, because that mindset that they instilled into you. I can definitely see that, leading your way. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those things that I think about so often is one of the ways they kind of teach you how to the mindset of a warrior in the military is you'll sing songs or recite the core values or recite creeds and values and things of that nature. And
yeah.
one of them that we recited so often that still resonates with me is the Airman's Creed. And there's two lines in it that I, even to this day, I feel like I could run through a wall when
Oh,
I
yeah.
repeat to myself. And one of the lines is, I will never falter and I will not fail. I am an American airman. And for me, just knowing what I've gone through in my childhood through the military, I know with beyond a shadow of a doubt that I can get through any situation presented to me if I put my mind to it, if I use discipline, and if I want to get through it, I will. And I encourage everyone, every single person under the sound of our voices has gone through incredible odds. You do not get through this life without scars, without wounds, without some bumps and bruises along the way. Whatever you're going through right now will not be the best of you if you don't let it. You owe it to yourself, the future version of yourself, to keep fighting because the other side is so sweet.
The future book that I'm envisioning to write, imagine the front cover is a picture of just trash, dirt, crap. And in the middle of it is a flower, a
Mhm.
rose. And the title is going to be Sometimes We Have to Walk Through the Shit to Smell the Roses.
Whew.
So, again, we're all going to go through something in life. Sadly, some of us going to go through more than most people. That's because life happens and we make dumb decisions. Okay. But that doesn't mean that we can't live life. Learn from what happened, use it as your superpower to go forward and have the best life possible. It's not going to be a perfect life, but it can be the best life possible. Even if you think you've goofed up for the last 40 years, you can change today and have the next 40 or 30 years be the best you've ever had. So,
It's never too late to be that version of yourself that you want to be, that you were born to be. You owe it to yourself.
well, somewhere deep down in you, for where you were brought up in that cult era and everything, somewhere deep down in you, you've had this positivity in you for it to finally, and it may have took the military to finally bring it out in you. Okay. But it was deep in you. So,
Absolutely.
and the Bible says we all have the same characteristics. It's just whatever those story is, whichever wolf you feed gets you know, the most attention is what's going to prevail. So the old story
Absolutely.
with whichever wolf you feed. Yeah.
I love that analogy. And every day, I think we as humans are confronted with choices. Whether we choose to sit in front of the TV and binge watch another episode, or do we spend another 5 minutes, on Instagram or on our phones, consuming things that don't benefit us? Or do we eat unhealthy? That we all have the knowledge to do better, but are we taking the small steps every day to be that better version of ourselves? Knowledge is nothing without actions.
There you go. Yep. You definitely got to take action to have a better life. Um, God's just not going to hand it to you. You have to do your part. Okay. He can give you the idea, he can give you the thoughts, whatever. But if you don't take the actions to prevail what's coming, and again, may not happen as soon as you start, it may take 10 years, but as long as you're going in the right direction, it should keep you upbeat moving forward. Yeah, we definitely have those. One of my biggest things is, even though I'm in a wheelchair, I can't help everybody out there that I would like to help, but I know I can help everybody with a simple smile, because I believe a lot of people go through depression because they realize people don't see them as human beings. They don't see them as a person,
Wow.
because they're so ignored. The homeless person, people walking by don't even say hello to him. You don't have to drop $1 in their bucket. You can just acknowledge them. Hey, how you doing, buddy? I'll pray for you. Sorry you're here, and then go. If you have that extra buck, drop it. But if you don't, just acknowledging someone as a person and alive would be the biggest help for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just being human and knowing that we're all going through something in life. I'll take it one step further. I think every person in life goes through depression in one way or another. It
Oh
might
yeah.
not look like mine, it might not look like yours, but they're going through something. And to everyone out there, I implore you, I encourage you, when someone's on your mind, there's a reason they're on your mind. Shoot them a text, give them a call. Just let them know, "Hey, I'm thinking about you." Because you never know if that's the one thing that puts a smile on their face, that helps them get through a moment, um, that they might be able to, when they're having a tough moment, call you and say, "Hey, I'm really struggling right now. Can we talk for a minute?" Those things are so important to us as humanity, to connect over what brings us together, not what separates us.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's amazing, and a lot of times we don't have to solve their problems. They just want to get it off their chest, and we just have to sit and listen, and tell them, yeah, it's a tough road. And then, and this is a two-way street. You can ask, how can I help? Or if they ask to help, and if you can, help them. But if you can't, be honest with them and say, but let's work on this together and let's find some way you can be helped.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man, you're amazing there, Logan. I'm
And
glad that God instilled all this into you and pushed forward. I'm
uh,
glad that you were old enough to realize I deserve better. I don't need this lifestyle. And it took military to whip it out of you. But I'm glad that you were able to because how many people don't recognize that? They fall for the trap, and then they're trying to struggle the rest of their life figuring out why. Okay. So I'm glad you were able to do that, and glad you were able to recognize that to have a better life.
absolutely, absolutely. And I one of my big takeaways coming out of Iraq, even though it didn't become realized for multiple years later, when I left Iraq, I realized that so many people, perhaps more deservedly than I, didn't make it out of Iraq. So many people that should have gone on to live full, vibrant lives didn't make it. And if I were to be given this opportunity of life, I needed to not live in my comfort zone. I needed to give my everything every day and share my story and change someone's life and give back, because I somehow was chosen to make it out. And the idea that out of, all of the eggs and all of the sperm, and each of us as humans, against all odds, are here. You have something beautiful to give the world. Make sure that you are showing up and smiling and being that person, even in the little ways that you can feel good about.
Yeah. And again, if you think trying to change the world is overwhelming because the world's so big, change something in your world.
One thing at a time.
Change something in your world, and it's going to have that ripple effect. And somebody close to you is going to realize, Logan, he's different for some reason. What's going on? And they're going to figure it out. And then their ripple effect is going to help somebody else. So change your world and the world around you, and those ripple effects is going to reach further than you think.
Absolutely. Be even the small things like being an example to others, saying, you know what, I'm not going to engage in this conversation because you know what, it doesn't uh, fill me with joy or happiness. This is going to tear somebody down, or even something as simple as I intend to, um, just one day a week, I'm going to eat a little bit more healthy. And that change, you will start to feel better. And other people will see that you're doing something for yourself that's bettering yourself. These little changes. One of my mantras is every day try to be a better person, just a little bit more.
Than the day before. That's right. So, man, Logan, you have definitely lifted my spirits today. So, I appreciate we got to meet you, and definitely glad you had your daughter to help you get through the other end. She's definitely been a blessing, and the ex-wife's been a blessing. Okay, if it wasn't for her, the little daughter
Absolutely.
may have been a little shit like me sometimes. Okay, but hopefully I've grown out of all that. But I tell people that when my mom remarried, that stepfather, he was my father. Okay, never
Mhm.
met my real dad. Okay, he never sent birthday cards, anything, Christmas, nothing like that. And as long as he had a good life, and I did finally last year got to meet my half brother. He reached out to us. 50, he was 56 and I was 61 at the time, 60, and
How was
finally
that?
got to meet. It wasn't as awkward as I thought. Um, no, it was good that we got to meet him. I knew he was out there, but I never knew his name. But he
Wow.
knew my name, my brother's name, and he reached out on Facebook, and I accepted it, and we talked, and we met a few times, and we met here this year, and it just lives 45 minutes from us, and so yeah, so we finally got to, and he was military man, went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and yeah, got wounded and stuff like that, and so he's doing well as overall. But what I was getting at, the other stepdad, he was my dad, and I tell people at the time when I says I was a little shit back then that he loved me when I needed it, and he busted my butt when I needed it, and I needed that butt busting when I was younger. So definitely that. So
It serves a purpose. It serves a
yeah,
purpose
yeah.
for sure.
So
Let me ask you, if I may, what I'm always fascinated with these stories of siblings that have kind of been apart for a long time and then finally come together. What was something that you totally didn't expect that was a commonality between you two? What did you like? Oh yeah, this guy's my brother.
there was one thing when we first met, and I know what you're talking about. I didn't relate to it, but my brother did. My
Interesting.
brother that I lived, grew up with, him and the half brother, something. Yeah, they were able to. I forgot exactly what it was, but I know what you're talking about. But
Those
uh,
things are
the other
always
thing that that I was able to, like you asking there, is I could tell because I grew up like you had mentioned. I felt invincible, you
mhm,
know, and then that's why I probably am in a wheelchair for doing stuff I shouldn't have been doing.
well,
Okay. And so with him being invincible to go to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I wanted to help out the world and what's going on, truly admire him for that.
wow.
So, but yeah, he had that same invincibility mindset from all that. before all that. Yeah. So,
Well,
but I'm
my
glad you reached out. And at
yes.
first I was going, I don't know about this because, it's been, I'm 60 and he's 56, I think it was a 4 year difference. And I was going, I don't know about this. We never met. And, I know one time they had a fan reunion 40 years ago and me and my brother didn't go. My mom, she didn't care. She says, if you want to go meet your dad, well, I think he's already passed away by then, but want to meet your sibling and other family. She goes, I'm not going to tell you no. That's your decision to make.
Right.
We're adults. She never talked bad about whatever happened. I just know they divorced before my first birthday, and
Wow.
never talked bad about him. But me and my brother, we decided we didn't want to go because we felt because we're the odd people out, everybody's going to be staring at us, asking us questions, and we just wouldn't have felt comfortable. So I'm glad that Bobby was able to find me, reach out, and we met. So
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that connection, and that's what kind of life is about, connecting with others and bringing people together for the greater good.
yeah, so it was definitely an experience that I never knew his first name, so I didn't never knew how to reach to him.
Gotcha.
But again, he knew us, Tim and my name, and he was able to find me. So I'm glad. I told him I'm glad he reached out, so we can know another part of us. And now, if I need another kidney, I know where else to go look. So, so
Fair enough.
there you go, Logan, brother, man. I would appreciate you being here. I would like to later on. You'll have to please think about it, remember it, reach out 4 or 5, 6 months, and let's talk again, see how life's going. This positivity you got going on. I'll forget. That's why I'm saying you'll have to remind me because I know how I am. But if
Oh,
you do reach out, I would love to have you back again. And from there, I need to make me a list because I've told 4 or 5 other people, but I forget who they are now. So I need to make me a list and add to the list of people I like to have back. So
you
but I appreciate sorry you went through your childhood like you did, but again, you were able to find who you're truly meant to be, as in you want to help people live the life they were born to lead.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
all right, Logan, hey, go ahead and give people your social media and everything, how to get a hold of you in case maybe somebody's got a question for you. Maybe
Abs-
somebody wants you to come speak at their event.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am Dean Logan. My website is theloganunlimited.com because everyone is the you unlimited. And my social media is also the same, the Logan Unlimited, Instagram, TikTok, all of it, the Logan Unlimited.
And I'll put those in the show notes to help people be able to click through them a little bit quicker too. So, well, Logan, I appreciate you being here. We know that people are hurting and struggling today. If you can leave us with a positive message, that'd be a blessing, brother.
Absolutely. Everyone, everyone is going through something in life, but where you start is not where you finish in life. We've all gone through pain and anguish and heartbreak, and we've all hurt people intentionally, unintentionally. That's life. But just because you've done those things and you've gone places and you've got some bangs and scrapes and bruises along the way does not mean that you are broken, that you will never be the full vibrant version that you want to be. You got to keep fighting. You must keep fighting for the life that you want because where you start is not where you finish.
Amen, brother. We all got battle scars, battle wounds. Okay, life's battle wounds. Okay, and so yeah, just big thing is do the best you can and carry someone along with you to help them. So, and then everybody pay it forward. So,
Absolutely.
all right, Logan, appreciate you being here again. And you blessed me with your story and with again your positivity. That's what I love about all this. So, you have a good day. I'm gonna get ready to talk to this guy in Australia here in a couple hours.
Oh my
So,
goodness, that's going to be so cool.
As I said, he's a day ahead of us. That's wild to think we're going to be talking at the same time, but 2 different days. That's
Wow,
wild to imagine that. So,
for sure.
all right, Logan, thank you again. Everybody else here is up with someone you know can use some good positivity. You're going to get it from our man Logan. So, everybody else, I'm Dr. James Purdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.